should I say good evening or good afternoon?
As you wish.
Fellow Toastmaster, no guest today. We're a small group, an intimate group actually, for this first of a series of 3 meetings that we are planning to run in April, May, and June as an additional meeting to our usual 2 lunchtime break meeting, and as an experiment to see if there is a demand or an interest for having meeting slightly outside of working hours to facilitate other members to join us. So it's not very concluding today in terms of turnout, but maybe it's gonna get better. So small crowd is not a great term, but small audience. We're gonna have a short meeting, 1 speech and some table topics. So on that, I don't have to do I have to do another announcement? I'll propose as the president of the club to turn over to our Toastmaster of the day to take over the control of the meeting and also to make some announcement on her own. Over to you, Maria Teresa.
Thank you, Mr. President. Aren't you supposed to mention there's a contest this coming weekend?
I was thinking about you to do it, actually.
No, you're much better for that. And that's actually business section.
But you're the business person here.
Anyway, in any event, fellow Toastmasters, we have no guests. Distinguished Toastmasters, it's an abbreviated meeting today, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to have a great one. I, of course, was disappointed that the turnout was so low after messages being sent out to our members and not too many reactions. And I ordinarily don't like to sign up for a major role. I want to give other people the chance. But if nobody takes it, here I am, your Toastmaster of the evening. So I think the first rule, the first point of order is to turn over to the general evaluator, who happens to be Toastmaster Monica.
Thank you, Toastmaster Maria Teresa. I'm very honored to be General Evaluator today after such a long time. It's my first meeting now in the evening, and it was very convenient this time, so I thought I won't miss this opportunity. As General Evaluator, as you know, I will observe the conduct of the meeting, and at the end of the meeting, I will provide you with a report. I have a team that would help me doing that. And I think since my team is quite small today, I won't introduce the team, but I'm very honored to tell you that our first speech is going to be made by Tristan, and the evaluator of Tristan is going to be Melanie, if I'm correct. No, who's that? Nicole, sorry. Thank you very much. So Nicole is going to be the evaluator of Tristan. Then we don't have a grammarian today, but I think we don't really need it, hopefully. I am going to be a counter, and Rina is the timer, and Melanie is going to be ballot counter. So this is my team, and now I would like to hand over to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Monica. It's good to see you again and to see you so active. I really appreciate that. For anybody who's missing out on what's going on in today's abbreviated meeting, I've pasted our Easy Speak agenda in the chat as a reminder of what's going on. And I only can say, Rena, I miss you as Sergeant at Arms, who was always very faithful, giving us the hard copies that we were able to look and see what's going on. So now there's a bit more responsibility for the Toastmaster of the day. As Monica indicated, we will have a regular meeting. We'll have a prepared speech. I believe Melanie is going to deliver table topics, and we also will have an evaluation section. So now that Nicole is here to evaluate our prepared speaker, I'm going to basically introduce the man who just raised his eyebrows. I don't know why. We're looking forward to your completion of Pathways Mastery Level 2 after today's speech. But before we ask you to come to the floor to deliver that speech, I call upon Nicole to tell us the objectives of Toastmaster Tristan's speech.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I see that the speech that Tristan is going to give is part of his visionary communication bigger project. The particular speech today is Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. It consists of presenting a speech about a time when he was a protege and to share with us the impact and importance of having, not being, of having a mentor. He must avoid reporting on the content of this project. The title of this project is Starting in a New Organization with a Mentor. Is that the title of the project, Tristan? Okay, so I'll say it again. Started in a New Organization with a Mentor. Tristan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nicole. For the benefit of our timer.
The timing, yes, please. The timing.
Yeah, for the benefit of our timer, Rena, the target time is 5 to 7 minutes. Okay? So now we're all excited. Our only speech of today, a tremendous responsibility, but I know you're up to it, Toastmaster Tristan. I now give you the floor to present Starting in a New Organization with a Mentor. Starting in a New Organization with a Mentor. Toastmaster Tristan.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day and fellow Toastmaster. It's my honor today to speak about my own experience of being a protege when I joined a new organization quite some time ago. And I would like to explain what I gained from it and why actually it's quite important when you're joining a new organization or you're joining Toastmaster to find a mentor or be the protege of someone to facilitate you the process. And here I would like to start about an experience I had in 2008. I was already working for 23 years when I joined the World Trade Organization in Geneva as their chief of budget. And at the time, the WTO had a mentorship program for any new joiner to the agency. It was voluntary. You could decide to join that mentorship program, but also the mentors were voluntary joining this part of the program. And at the time, I was assigned as a mentor, Rob Anderson, an American-Canadian, very senior member of a chief of the section in government procurement division. So in charge of trade deals relating to government procurement, ensuring that when governments make procurement, they do it on the same fair basis across the world. And Rob was a peer to me. He was a section head, I was a section head, but he was in a totally different department of our organization, the WTO, and he was an expert in a field where I knew nothing. So he was assigned my mentor, and I would like to share a couple of ideas that what I gained from this mentorship. First, it was a great learning experience and on different level. And I will say it was probably a joint learning experience, but let me start. First, I knew nothing about the organization I was joining, the World Trade Organization. I had read a few papers, but that was pretty much it. And what you gain from a mentor is I gain an understanding and an explanation of, for instance, what is a multilateral organization. It was the first time I worked for a multilateral organization, and you have to understand the dynamic of how you work with member states and how you reach consensus in the decision-making process. And he was a great teacher for me of those aspects. He also provided me, in that case, the unspoken rule on what the management's culture is in the organization. There's a lot of big talk by HR or on the website of what a management culture is of an organization, but you need to know from the people inside what it is, and that's not written nowhere. So, and I think a mentor provides a protege that asset. I also learned from him, he was somehow my client as I was in a support function, and he was a client of our financial services and budgetary services, so I could learn from him from that side. I also could learn from him from a manager in the organization, how he struggled with managing his resources. So it was a good learning from a client's perspective, what they were looking. And he also, and that's why I said it's a joint learning experience, he also learned from me on what are the challenges in finance, how we can assist, because obviously he was not exposed too much to that. So that's the first element. It was a great learning experience. I think the second and very important thing that came out of the mentorship program was a great friendship. And the mentorship program at the World Trade Organization was set up to last 6 months. It shouldn't last forever. It was fixed for 6 months as part of the induction program. And Rob and I, we actually quite well connected on this journey, and we kept our relationship throughout, and I'm still in touch with him. He retired since then. And we were able to connect and discuss about numerous other topics that necessarily work. We discussed about the difficulties we had in our families, our kids. We had coffees, we went for lunch, and he was also a great ally, and I was also supporting him on his actions. So I thought that mentorship program also provided great friendship, and I see it also as a mentor now in some of the case. So to summarize, I think a mentorship program is a great thing. Whatever you're joining a new job, a new organization, but also you're joining a club like Toastmaster, or you're joining another activity, it facilitates your integration to the club, to the environment in which you operate. And ultimately, it's a win-win situation, not only for the organization, but also for you to ensure that your integration is smooth and as quick as possible to reach the optimum level. And it's also a great and finally human experience where you meet someone, you discover something about them. And if the mentorship program was not existing, I wouldn't have discovered Rob, and I wouldn't have learned a lot about his challenges and his kids and the difficulty he had also in his family. I won't talk here with one of his kids. So I thought it was a great learning and human experience from that perspective. So my call to action to all of you is, maybe you've been in the same job for quite a long time, or in the same organization for quite some time, but think about, if you have not a mentor, to think, who could be my mentor? Who could help me in this process as we go along? Who could be a source of inspiration? And I'm just going to close on a personal note now that Nicole has taken my evaluation, and without trying to bribe her to give me a good evaluation. But Nicole and I see Nicole a bit as my mentor in this process, because I'm flying just right behind her and I'm training her, and I see her, she's going level 1, level 2, and I'm just behind her, and she's picking up speed and some distance. And actually, that's also a great benefit from a mentor. They're pulling you toward getting a better delivery. And I thank very much Nicole for that. And that's why she didn't even need my evaluation form to know what the speech was about, because she did the same not so long ago. So on that note, I return the control of the meeting to Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Maria Teresa.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tristan. Fellow Toastmasters, although Tristan is going to give a full-fledged evaluation from Nicole, it is now your opportunity to give him some feedback in the chat. So Rena, can we please have 1 minute? Will you please time 1 minute and let us know when it is over, for you to give us a sign and for everybody else to give Tristan some feedback.
Your VIC Toastmaster host, no? Yeah.
Pardon me?
Yeah, we should send it to VIC Toastmaster host, no? Because I don't see his name.
Correct,
but yeah.
correct. He's a little bit incognito. Raised eyebrows again. Shh.
We don't hear you.
I should do the project about visual, facial, physical.
Yeah. Expression.
Yes.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rina. So now it's to proceed with the next section of a typical Toastmaster meeting. Although this is going to be, I think, an untypical table topic section. Melanie jumped in relatively short notice. I know she has topics that are going to wow us and to force us to put on our thinking caps. So I now turn over to Toastmaster Melanie to lead us through the table topic section. Toastmaster Melanie.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Maria Teresa. I have something to say. When we started this meeting, I thought it was going to be a lot bigger because somebody had the idea to have an evening meeting because they didn't have time during lunch. But I like the word Tristan used. He said it's an intimate group. And because it's such an intimate group, I can actually talk about a topic that may make some people a bit shy. But it's quite an interesting one, and I think we've all been here before, because no matter what kind of relationship you're in life, with friends, family, partners, there is a language you speak. And I'm not talking about English, German, French language. I'm talking about your love language. And you may have heard of a book. It's called The 5 Love Languages. It's actually from 1992. And I feel as though I should have read this book in 1992 because it would change my complete outlook on love and relationships. And I didn't read it till actually a couple of years ago. The author is called Gary Chapman, and he's a bit religious, but the idea behind the book, it talks about 5 general ways. It's an outline of these 5 general ways that romantic partners, but I'm going to say not just romantic partners, anyone that has a relationship with another person, the way they express and they experience love. So any type of relationship, you have very close friends that you meet. You could talk about the relationship you have with your children, your siblings, but most important, I think this is going to discuss partners. So the 5 languages, I'll name all 5 of them, and I actually wanted to just call on everybody that didn't speak today, but I need 5, so I have to call on you as well, Tristan, sorry. The first one is, and I'll explain them a bit, is acts of service. 2 is gift giving. 3, physical touch. 4, quality time. And 5, words of affirmation. So when I call on you, I'm going to give you one of these love languages, and I just want to hear from you within 1 to 2 minutes what your take on this is. Is this a way that you feel that you express your love to another person? Because you can have more than one. It's just when you read the book and you do the quiz, there tends to be a dominant language that you use to express and experience love with a partner. So acts of service, let me explain that before I assign it to someone. An act of service, well, if I would have known this when I got married, then maybe I would see that, for example, my husband's changing my tires as his way of saying he loves me. I'd rather, of course, a back rub, but I have my summer tires already on my car already. So that's basically his love language. So acts of service can be anything, cooking a meal, doing something with your hands, creating something. So I'm going to call on Maria Teresa and give us an idea of acts of service. Is this something that you see as a love language, one of yours, or how would you explain it to us? Maria Teresa, acts of service.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmaster. Well, Melanie, you would have to ask me a really difficult question because I'm not in a relationship at present, at least in a love relationship. But of course, I have had over the years my liaisons, and I think I have learned a lot from these experiences. Let me give you an example about a former boyfriend. Complicated man, very, very difficult man. We had already broken up, but he had always insisted whenever I was traveling to the States to drive me to the airport and basically drop me off, that I wouldn't be struggling, with the taxi cab and, the luggage. By the way, I happen to live in Vienna in a flat on the 4th floor with no elevator. So he would show up shortly before I'm supposed to depart, schlep everything down the stairs, put me in his car, take me out to the airport, deposit me. And it was a big relief. And I thought, why is he doing this? We're not even really together anymore. I consider that one of the strongest acts of service I have ever experienced. But not just that, he also picked me up. And if you knew how many missed flights I had, where he was waiting for me at the airport to no avail, no Maria Teresa turned up, but he still did it. Okay, he complained a little bit, you know, this typical Viennese meckering, as they call it, but he always was there and was totally reliable. So I think that is a prime example of an act of service. So I return control now to you, Toastmaster Melanie. I have shared, I have confessed. You know a little bit more about me.
Thank you, Maria Teresa. I do believe that is an act of service, schlepping, as you say, a suitcase down from the 4th floor. I don't even want to do one flight. So good job. The next love language, I don't think I have to explain so much. It's the gift giving. Giving a gift could be a small monetary box of chocolates, 1 rose, or it could be a big gift like you usually get for your engagement ring or a vacation. So I'm going to ask Rena, who is our timekeeper, if she could at the same time herself, or I could time her if she needed to tell us what she thinks about gift giving as a love language, as a sign of love. Is that one of your love languages, or has someone expressed love to you in the form of gift giving?
I will time
Rena. Oh, thank you.
No, I have an iPhone. I will time it. Love my iPhone. Okay. Fellow Toastmasters, fellow friends, we know each other for a long time. Gift giving, I think it's very important because we all like receiving some gifts. I mean, Easter, Christmas, birthday, and especially unexpected gifts. And I think I am almost a giving person, and I also receive a lot of, because I have a friend whom I know for a long time, and she never forgets to bring me on 3rd of April a bouquet of flowers. And she's a retiree from UNIDO, the most beautiful bouquet you can ever think of. And I always tell her, don't do it, but she still does it. Even during Corona time, she's 78 years old, she's a retiree, she brought me a bouquet of flowers. And I was very pleased to get it. And then I got so many cards. And my gift giving is always for someone what they like. For example, some people like wine, some people like Indian food, and whatever. So, Melanie, for your information, on Ed Bradley, our friend, he is my teacher for my new iPhone. So I brought him a very spicy chicken curry as a gift. And his wife sent me an email this afternoon saying, Reena, the food is delicious. We are enjoying it. So I like to give something personal, what I make as a gift, just to make them happy. I mean, and gift giving is part of life. Life is a constant giving and taking. This is my approach. You give, you take. And this is my approach. Fellow Toastmasters. Now I spoke for 1 minute, 54 seconds.
Thank you, Rena. I agree. Even the small gesture of a gift of making a meal could be combined as an act of service, but it's also a gift that you gave. You had to buy the ingredients, you had to cook, you had to clean up, package, and probably most likely deliver to the person. So gift giving is pretty high on my list too. And like we said, it doesn't have to have a monetary value. Thank you for sharing.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And I love the idea of the flowers every year. That's beautiful. It must brighten up your office.
Yeah.
So I have physical touch. Now, without being too intimate, physical touch is not just lovemaking. It's the physical touch of hand holding, a massage. It could be even just reaching out and grabbing someone's arm when you're engaged in a conversation. So physical touch is anything that you're connecting with another person on a physical level. So I'm going to give that one to the other French woman, Nicole, because I think the French are very much known for being touchy people and romantic. Nicole, physical touch, is that one of your love languages? Is it something that's high on your list? Or how do you feel that that is a way someone can express their love to another person?
Thank you, Melanie. I'm going to tell you this touching business is making me uneasy right now, or it's been making me uneasy for the last, I don't know, 5-10 years. Because being French, you're right, we touch a lot. And mind you, men kiss each other without any double meaning there. Especially if you're the same family, you know, you will kiss your brother-in-law, you will kiss your cousin, you will kiss your friends if you're a man. And half of me is of Italian origin. So it makes it even better, even worse, I don't know. But the Italians touch a lot. And I remember when I was in Italy and a man would touch my shoulder, would touch my hand, you know, I didn't think, oh my God, I'm in trouble. And in the office, in the end, we were taught so much that we have to be careful that I, as a woman, didn't even dare to touch another woman. It became so bad because I didn't want the woman to think it had a double meaning. It's just that it's in our genes somehow. And touching another person, meaning that it means just that you care or that you are trying to establish a contact. It doesn't mean anything else. And I think it is sad that we've come to the point where nowadays touching another person becomes something that you don't do naturally or that you try not to do because you're not sure how the other person is going to take it. But I can tell you, if a man like Tristan, for instance, touches my arm, I'm not going to think, oh my God, I'm in trouble. I know he's French, I know he might do it, and it doesn't have a hidden meaning. Back to you, Mrs. Table Topics, Madam Table Topic Master.
Nicole, don't be so sure. You just said that he's right behind you, remember, in the airplane? Catching up to you with the levels here in our Toastmasters. But yes, physical touch, it's a shame today. You can't even, well, we were always shaking hands and kissing, and now you see people and you're like this. So I hope we get some physical touch back soon as we can take off our masks. So I'm going to skip because I'll do Tristan at the end because he spoke, but I'm going to jump to words of affirmation. I'm going to call on you, Monica, and it sounds a lot more than it is, but words of affirmation are compliments you give. You tell your partner, you look beautiful today, or I love you, and just actually affirming the bond that you have together, expressing and experiencing the love you have, but using words of affirmation, positive affirmations to them. Is this something that is high on your list? You're a talker, you're a woman. Is it something that someone has showed their love to you? Or do you think it's something that's really just a lot of not really important in a love language? So Monica, words of affirmation.
Thank you, Melanie. I think words of affirmations is something quite important for me. I like always to give feedback and to get feedback. I am a person who doesn't get mad if someone tells you, yeah, you didn't do that good today, or you were grumpy, or you were a little bit rude to someone, because sometimes you are so focused, you perhaps didn't or don't mean something in a certain way, but it comes across in a not very positive way. And I have noticed several times that sometimes I say something and yeah, it doesn't, I don't mean it in a, yeah, I mean it good actually, but yeah, it doesn't sound very good. So I have my husband who is always giving me feedback, and I have a certain amount of people around me, not only my husband, also my mother, who know how to tell me things, and I love it. Even if I love when they tell me, for example, yeah, you have to be a little bit more patient next time. Don't be so pushy, or you said this in a not very nice way, so next time you should do it differently. I like that very much. I also like to give feedback myself. For example, my husband just came out from the hospital. He was in Speising because he had a hip surgery. So he told me that he was amazed by the service there. Everybody was extremely kind and helpful and very professional. So we decided today to write an email together and to give them a very, very positive feedback to the whole staff at the hospital, because even during these difficult times, they did a great job. And he said that he felt so really well taken care of, and in so good and professional hands, that he was really very surprised and yeah, amazed actually. So we just wrote this email today, and as I said, I mean, I think it's very important to give not only negative feedback, but also if someone does something good, then as well say some nice words to them, or just make them feel appreciated. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Monica. I agree. Sometimes our words can be very powerful, what we say to another person, how we express ourselves. So it is the spoken language, the way we communicate. And sometimes nowadays it seems we're texting and writing. And so it's nice that you actually wrote a letter and gave it to the hospital staff. I was so glad you said he just had a normal procedure and wasn't COVID, because that's also a scary thing. So the last one, we have to call on you, Tristan. I know you actually spoke today, and I was going to just call on the ladies, but I have one more love language, and this is called quality time. Now, quality time is the time you actually take out of your schedule. It's not like we're not working or having families and want private time for ourselves, but the time that you can actually look at your calendar and make space for another person, whether you're having a lunch or a meeting or speaking to another person, mentoring them. This is what quality time is about. So is it high on your list for a love language? Is it a way you express yourself? Or do you see it as just one of the other ways, and maybe it's lower to the bottom? So your love language I'd like you to speak about is quality time. Tristan?
Madam Table Topic Master. Well, first, why did you try to exclude me as a man on the discussion of love language? Is that there is only women who speak about love, or what are you trying to say with this? And I was a bit puzzled by these elements. And I think men and women do speak probably the 5 love language, and probably a combination of all of them, who is somewhere we're stronger and somewhere we're weaker. Quality time. And I tend to enjoy that word. I'm a man of money by nature and profession. However, there is one thing that money cannot buy, is time. And time, as you're getting older, becomes more and more precious. And having quality time with someone you love is the best thing you can spend your life on. And that's why I think, and it's interesting because you all relate with our own story and how our partner are thinking. And with my wife, I think she doesn't want to spend so much quality time that I would like to spend with her. And the perception within a couple of what is quality time is sometimes very different. And I like a moment where we do nothing and we're just together, chit-chatting, or have no other distraction, but just being the two of us, without the kids, and have an opportunity to discuss, to walk in the streets, even to drive somewhere, and find a privileged moment where we can be together, sometimes in a nice restaurant, but sometimes in a simple day-to-day life activity, but just being together and having a great conversation or a great exchange as a moment. So love language is for everyone, Melanie. And those 5 languages probably for all of us. On that note, I return the control of the meeting to you.
Thank you, Tristan. It's not that I didn't want to call on you. Believe me, I'm more interested in your view as a man, but I figured it wasn't fair because you gave a speech today, and I was hoping there would just be, 5 other people that could. Okay. But I really like what you said. The simple day-to-day activities. That's true. It doesn't have to be a big trip to a Greek island or something. It could just be, like you said, nice time going for a walk, sitting on a park bench. Very nice. So because it's such a great topic and it is intimate, I think I'm going to do this again in the future. Maybe not now, maybe in a few months, but I have to ask other Toastmasters what they think of these love languages. So with that, I would like you to send me your vote because I'm the ballot counter. Maria Teresa.
Sorry.
Okay, back to you, table topic, Toastmaster of the day, Maria Teresa. And when you want to send the ballots, it will be me.
Topics master. I'm now going to turn the table on you and ask you a question, which is why I wanted to wait for the votes. Okay. I thought your table topics were somewhat challenging, but there's always something to it. So now I'm going to ask you a question pertaining to physical touch. I don't know about you all, but I miss our in-person meetings. I miss the handshake at the podium. I miss the applause. But I'm specifically going to ask Melanie, what does a handshake tell you about a person? And what kind of a handshake do you have? Toastmaster Melanie.
Oh, Maria Teresa, you hit the nail on the head with that one. I love handshakes when they're strong. If somebody grabs my hand and it's grabbing a wet noodle, I go crazy. The harder you squeeze, the better, because it really means that you're engaged with that person and you're looking at them, not too hard. And I'll give you a story. I married a man that works in the trucking business. And when I even first met him and his family, they squeezed my hand so hard that I used to get where my ring was, I used to get a little mark on the other finger because it pushed too much. And so I said, this is ridiculous. Why do you squeeze the hand so hard? And he says, well, if you don't squeeze another truck driver's hand really hard, they think that you are, well, I don't want to be, what's the right word? That you could be warmer than the other gentleman's hands that you're shaking. So you don't want to be perceived as not manly. So when I got married, I had a lot of customers and clients come to our wedding, and there was about 400 people. So I purposely took the ring off my finger so I could shake all of their hands. So to answer your question, back on topic, I look someone right in the eye and I grab their hand and I squeeze harder than a normal woman would. And that to me is just the most important. You've got to grab the hand. Sometimes I even touch the elbow at the same time because that's part of my physical touch. But thank you for asking.
Thank you, Toastmaster Melanie. I totally agree with you. I think the word you were looking for was wimp. If you encounter somebody who doesn't give you at least a strong, firm handshake, you think, what kind of person are they? In any event, now we can proceed. I will recap. We had as table topic speakers, myself, Rena, Nicole, Monica, Tristan, and Melanie. I give you the opportunity to submit your vote for the best table topic to Toastmaster Melanie, who is above boards. Even though she was table topics master and speaker, I'm sure we're going to get a good result. Having said that, speaking of good results, let's find out how we were in this meeting. You know, evaluation is an important part of Toastmasters. It's not just the speaking, it's hearing how we came across. Did we accomplish our goals? Were we successful in giving our message? So now I invite Toastmaster Monica to lead us through the evaluation section. Toastmaster Monica.
Thank you, Toastmaster Maria Teresa. So now, as you said, the evaluation part, the gift part where we get better comes. I would like to say, perhaps I would provide my short evaluation at the end. And first, I would like to call upon Nicole, who will evaluate our first and only speaker, Toastmaster Tristan. So please, Nicole, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Tristan, I find it a bit funny to hear from you that you're a protege. I mean, that's not the picture that I get from you usually, since, well, you're the president of the club to start with, and you have a very high post in the UN. But what I would like to say is that you did reach your aim fully, because the aim of the project was, and of course it disappeared from my screen, was to show the importance of mentoring and being mentored or being a protege, and that you did very well. One of your strong points, which is always a strong point in your speeches, I think, is the structure. The structure of your speech was very clear, different parts. You explained what the mentorship program was in WTO, and then you said what you gained from the mentorship, and you talked about the friendship. You made it a different part, which I think was good. There's one thing, and I think Maria Teresa already told you that some time ago. You started your introduction with, I would like to start with. I don't think that you have to say that. I think you can go directly into it. It's good to announce what you're going to say, but maybe you should do it in some other way than just, I would like to start with. What I also liked in your speech was the examples. You were very concrete. You know, you didn't stay aloof and in general statements. You gave very, very good and very precise examples. So that I think was good. There's something, however, it's you lost me in the end as far as structure is concerned. WTO, okay, what I get, okay, friendship, okay. And then I'm going to summarize, and then you went on. And I wasn't too sure where you were going. There's another thing that you have to watch, this is a tiny thing, but it's the verbal tics. And with you, like me, it's end, instead of full stop, and then you start another sentence. A lot of ends. So I think that in general, you have a very strong structure. A structure is always a strong point with you. Your clarity is always a strong point too. You've reached the aim of the project, which is the importance of mentoring. If you could work on something, I think that it would be maybe the introduction and the conclusion to make them more punchy, because your conclusion, in my view, was far too long, because you started with call to action, and then you went on and on and on, and even talking about me, and yeah, that I did the same project not so long ago. Make your introduction and your conclusion shorter, and that way more punchy. Other than that, I think, you know, as I said, your strong point is your structure and your clarity. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Nicole, for this very in-depth evaluation. I
have a point of order. I have a
Yes.
point of order. My dear Tristan, I'm still waiting for my evaluation on that particular project. So you get yours when I get mine.
Now, perhaps we turn to our ballot counter, if you agree. Toastmaster Melanie, can you please announce the winner of the table topic masters?
From the table topics, well, it was by popular vote that our only male and only speaker of the day, Tristan, has won with his quality time. Good job, Tristan.
Congratulations, Tristan.
He's looking all shy. And I'm sure any of these women on the screen would spend quality time with you, because
Definitely.
very entertaining.
Definitely. Madam Timer, the timer.
Yes, timer, yes.
Nina.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Everything's
very
okay?
well.
Okay. The timer, the speaker Tristan talked for 6 minutes 53 seconds. And in table topics, Maria Teresa is 1 minute 44 seconds, me 1 minute 57 seconds, Nicole 1 minute 38 seconds, Monica 2 minutes 35 seconds, and Tristan 2 minutes 13 seconds. And Melanie in the on handshake 1 minute 23 seconds, and Nicole on evaluation 3 minutes 15 seconds. This ends my report.
Thank you very much, Madam Timekeeper. So now I would like to give you my short evaluation. I think that we started more or less on time. I think we were five minutes late, but other than that, it was just perfect. It was a very small group. We are only 6 today, but I liked it very much. Us 5, actually, not even 6 with me. With me, there were 6. Yeah. Yeah, actually, so as I said, we were a very small group, but I still liked it very much because I thought it was very familiar, intimate, but we were ourselves. It was very authentic. So I liked that very much. I think that the energy was very positive as well. We were laughing. It was very spontaneous. It was like as if we were having, I don't know, coffee all together in the VIC or somewhere else. The roles were 100% confirmed on time in Easy Speak. I checked a couple of minutes before the meeting. I mean, actually, for example, I rolled only this afternoon, but I checked shortly before the meeting started, and it said 100% of the roles confirmed on time. So it was okay. The table of topics were very exciting and very original, I would say. So I like them very much. Thank you, Melanie, for that. So all in all, I think it was a very nice meeting, and I hope we will have many like this again. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Monica. I totally agree with you. It was klein aber fein. In any event, since we were talking about mentoring, why don't I remind you all to somehow look after your mentees, your proteges, because one of the things we need to do is to get some of our members more active and committed in this club. And I don't think the Vice President of Education can do that on their own. So I appeal to each and every one of you to take your role as mentor very seriously and try to get your mentees more active in the club. Otherwise, I was surprised that we pulled it off. We did it, we managed. Again, it was intimate, but I thoroughly enjoyed today's meeting. So I return control of the meeting, and we shouldn't always mention you're the only man, Tristan, but perhaps we can do so, at least try to recruit some more men into our club just to give us a little bit more balance. So over to you, Mr. President, Mr. Presiding Officer. I call upon you to end this meeting with bravura.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Maria Teresa, for running this meeting. As we said, it was an intimate meeting, but it was still a productive meeting, and it was still a learning experience where we were able to practice, to prepare, to practice, and to do what Toastmaster Monica loves the most, is feedback. And we were able to do that in the months of April. And the months of April, that's the months where Toastmaster Rena gets the flower. On the 3rd of April, if I understand correctly, and on the 3rd of April, I turn 50 because I'm also from the 3rd of April.
Ooh. Ooh.
So
Tristan, are you serious? Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, he's joking.
I'm from the 3rd of April.
And how old are you, Tristan? Tristan, how old are you?
50.
Ooh, okay.
So
Yeah, I know he looks older.
I was quite amused. I was quite amused when you mentioned the 3rd of April. So I said, "Did you say the 3rd of April?" Well, yes, she said the 3rd of April. So on that note, I would like
Oh my God.
I would like to remind everyone that there is competition this weekend. If you're interested to attend, and the information is available on somewhere.
Tristan and maybe Maria Teresa, I'm not sure I understand what this competition is, because we had the division competition. There's a district competition coming at the beginning of May. So what's that one in the middle?
Nicole, the way I understood it is that the district one is a conference and not competition. My understanding is that this is the district competition. Maybe I've missed something in the meantime.
Okay, so there's a difference between, okay, it's just, okay, I don't know, but I don't get it because I don't see who is.
You know, this is one of the problems. We're getting so much information coming into us, you know, and sometimes really lengthy things, you know, and you have to read things to the end. I was confused by that myself.
Okay.
Anyway, Tristan, are we going to mention at our meeting next week our annual general meeting? And are we also going to mention the district content or content?
Yeah, and we will do this
Conference.
at our next regular meeting only.
Okay, because this is part of a business section, okay? And maybe you could get after Toastmaster Tom. I sent him an email with all of the paid members and basically even gave him a sketch of how he could do it, but I have yet to hear from him.
Okay. On that note, I will end the meeting and stop the recording, and we can still discuss a bit.
Okay,
But I wish you all a great evening. I thank you for having joined us for this
Nice evening.
Manila
Nice
Camp,
evening.
to be
Nice
reported.
evening.
Enjoy time at home.